Welcome back to the Latura podcast. Today, Christine and I are with Kailyn, part of our team. She's our artist, our amazing, lovely artist. So, the February issue, if you have it in hand, you will see her banner in there, but also you'll see it just all over, really.
You're doing more and more.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fun. I've liked stacking it on as the months go by.
Yeah.
yeah. You'll see it on our website. You did that sketch with the newspaper. Is that
hmm
right? Yep.
hmm
So yeah, how did this come about? How did you end up creating art for the Litera Post?
Well, I think I saw someone on Instagram had posted about the Latura post. And so I started looking into it and saw that you guys were taking like submissions. Well, I emailed Christine and sent her some illustrations that I thought would fit the post. And then you responded with like, yeah, we would love to include this. And then it just kind of progressed from
hmm
there. And you asked if I'd be willing to work on some projects with you guys.
hmm
And then you're like, actually, would you just want to be a part of the team? And here we
Yeah.
are.
The more I looked at your stuff, because I loved it from the get-go, and I was like, oh, we're definitely putting this in. And then as I was like working on the layout and like looking at it more and more, I'm like, this is totally the vibe we're wanting. And I had like really enjoyed communicating with you, and so I was like, yeah, well, let's keep this going. Because I think then we did the featured artist for February was the next step.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then it was, yeah, let's keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. And it was crazy because I was like very pregnant
Yeah.
when you
I know
messaged, like when all of that was coming to be.
I was a little bit insecure because I was like, I don't want to like intrude on such like a special time. I hope that she's not like, this is too much. But I
No,
was
I mean,
also
it
like,
was
we want
definitely,
you.
yeah, it was a challenge for sure, but like it was good. I think I told you that it was a really good thing to keep me creative and just have something to kind of remind me of what I enjoy during the hardest weeks of postpartum. And it was a little bright spot when I would get kind of, I mean, it's overwhelming. So it was like a little bit of a break, I guess. It grounded me, I feel it. So
Good.
that was really helpful.
Do you feel like your art changed while you were pregnant at all? Like, did you have anything that felt different or anything?
Well, before I got pregnant, like I am primarily an oil painter. Like that is what I love to do. That's what I started doing in college more so. And these really slow, thoughtful pieces where I'm like honestly a little too slow, like procrastinating and being very perfectionistic about it. And then after I had my baby, it's like I didn't have time to do that. Um, I can't go spend hours painting right now. And so I started diving back into illustration more, especially for the post. And that's what I've done my whole life. Like when I was a kid, I was drawing like fantasy characters from like Narnia and Lord of the Rings, things like that. And so it felt kind of like I was going back to my roots a little bit. Um,
We
and
need
I
to
can
pull
do,
some of those out for
oh
upcoming
my
issues.
Yeah.
gosh, that would be
Go into
hilarious.
the archives.
I have so many sketchbooks in my parents' attic. So that would be hilarious. But yeah, I have more time to spend on those illustrations than just having to get out a ton of material and
Yeah,
Mm.
so yeah.
Yeah.
that's cool.
Like you posted that reel recently on
hmm
our feed. If you're listening, you can go find it. We did a collab reel and you just like recording your process a little bit and it was
Yeah.
super fun to see. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. Tolkien is always kind of sprinkled in there a little bit. I feel like that's like ingrained in my brain for forever.
Not a bad
I,
thing.
yeah, I was gonna say you too, Christine.
Yeah.
Guys, I have a confession.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I've never read Lord of the Rings. Tried to
Babe.
Have
watch
you
the
seen the
movies.
movies?
No, I couldn't do it. Can't do it.
Mm. I don't know about that.
Maybe I'll try again. I'll
You're
try
like,
again. Yeah,
we have some beef
they're
now.
I feel your judgment. I
no,
accept
it's
it,
okay.
and I will change my ways maybe because I accept being like just shamed into watching them, I guess, or reading them. Maybe that's what I need to do. I love books, so maybe I need to read them. But that's my confession. Now the world knows.
Hey, it's okay. You know, we all have room to improve. This is just an area that you need to work on.
Okay, I actually like, okay, I love Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter, but I didn't read them as a kid. I read them as an adult, and for whatever reason, that made my attachment to them like 100 times more. Like, I love Harry Potter. And so when I started watching Lord of the Rings, there's a lot of parallels, right? Like J.K. Rowling was
Hmm.
inspired by
Hmm.
Lord of the Rings.
As
And
was
I,
everyone.
yeah, and I got kind of like upset. I don't know. And it should have been opposite though. Like, I mean, if I love Harry Potter, I should really love Lord of the Rings. I don't know. And I
No,
just,
I get that.
so I was like, I don't know. I just love Harry Potter so much. I read them at a time that was like very hard period in my life. And I just like attached to those characters.
Hmm.
Like they're my friends, you know? I am Hermione. And I just couldn't, I don't know, I couldn't get past it that there was a lot of like inspiration, obviously.
Hmm.
You could see it. Um, so anyway, Tay, that was
Yeah.
a tangent.
Yeah. You should
Um,
read them first.
yeah, I need
I will
to.
I agree.
always, I will, that, I mean, that will always be my default. You read the book before the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so
So,
much more depth,
So
which
much
that's
more.
always the case,
hmm
but
Yeah.
they're magical.
Yeah. Okay, this is also a tangent, but I just thought this is so good. It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, which I feel like we could take this into the art conversation even. But my husband Josh was listening to a podcast the other day, and he was telling me about this what he was talking about, and he was talking about the difference between good literature and bad literature. And it's, is the book trying to court you or is it trying to seduce you? And it
Interesting.
was, we took us into a whole conversation, and I think we're still going on it. But I just like can't get that out of my head, and it's really, really, the more you think about it, the more you're like, whoa.
Tell me more. Tell me more though.
But I feel like Lord of the Rings, for example, like if you when you go in to read it, it's an epic story, but it's
Hmm.
very like sometimes you read a chapter and if you're kind of, checked out at all, you're like, "Oh wait, that was a really big deal." Like that was like a huge thing, but it's not like the super it's not heavily emotionally charged the way he's like
Hmm.
writing about it. Um and but with that, then when you like put yourself into it, you can kind of like peel back the layers and then you get more and more invested as you're like engaging with what he's putting out there rather than it being kind of like this chapter of like really heightened emotion and you're like riding a high on it and then you like you read as fast as you can because you want to keep going and you want to keep going and then you finish the book and
Yeah.
you're like I actually don't really remember what I read.
hmm
Which honestly, that reminds me a lot of just things that we were saying around the shift that the post took of like things don't have to be so like in your face obvious for
Mhm.
it to draw you in and for you to want to keep seeking that. I
Mhm.
don't know. I feel like when something is good and true, it's like it doesn't ask for you to like look at me, look I have to grab your attention.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes
No,
sense.
Yeah, totally.
I do. I love that. And talking, so little spoiler for what's coming in July, I talked to Meg from Fertile. Shout out, Meg. She was kind of talking about the same thing. Like, social media is so black and white, and people will scream at you, like, choose
Hmm.
this side or choose this side. And she's like, we just want to make a good product and it doesn't have to be showy. I'm like, yeah.
Hmm.
I think the same thing can be said about art. Like, art is, well, you should talk about that because I'm not an artist.
Yeah, like
You
how
should.
like that thread of thought, how do you feel like that translates into art?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. I feel like a lot of your modern art is just a bunch of like activists, I guess. It's
Mhm.
not like I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it. A lot of the art that I enjoy looking at, whether it's like Renaissance art, Impressionists, whatever, I feel like there's such a value and an interest to the subtlety of it. And I feel like a lot of what is produced today is kind of what you're talking about of that black and white, like this is what I'm saying, rather
Hmm.
than knowing what you believe, knowing what you would like to say, and then just kind of letting that speak for itself. And in terms of, religious art or whatever, like it doesn't have to have a religion stamped on it for it to have that message show through, I guess. There's an artist, which you said that you read Art and Faith, Makoto
Hmm.
Fujimura.
Hmm.
I feel like he's a really great example of what modern semi-religious art can look like. It's very abstract. Like you bring your interpretation to that as the viewer, and you can glean from that kind of what you want to, and it's not like here's what I believe, you must think this exact same thing, but like a little bit of it is left up to interpretation, but ultimately, you know, through beauty you find truth.
Hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like so I've been diving into a lot more public domain art. Just
Hmm.
especially as we're getting into our summer issues and our year two issues. And the more I'm engaging with it, it's so intriguing to look at
Hmm.
these pieces are just so layered, and I feel like 100 different people could come to a piece and come away with different responses or thoughts, or like, this is what I feel when I look at the piece. This is what I noticed in the piece. Because, like, some of them have so much going on, but it's not like
Hmm.
chaotic, it's subtle. And it is just like there's just so much more layer, and it's not so black and white. And I feel like the leaving some things to mystery a little bit and not having to make it so black and white is what draws you in. Like we talked about
Yeah.
that in the literature episode with Olivia, that kind of in reference to literature. But yeah, it's the same with art.
Yeah. Have you looked at anything from Joseph William Turner?
Yeah, I actually was looking at it
Dude,
recently.
that he is like one of my all-time favorite artists because I don't know, I feel like what he paints is very honest and it's depicting nature a lot of the time.
Hmm.
And similar to what you were saying, I feel like anytime you're out in nature, like experiencing, I don't know, a natural disaster, just anything, it's like it's not a black and white thing that, wow, I really can't process what I'm thinking about it right now. I don't know. It's complex. Like, I don't know. I don't
And
know
in,
what I'm
yeah,
saying. I'm
no, and
rambling.
in a sense, it's kind of boring. Like, and I think that's
Yeah.
what we've talked about with the paper too, is when you can walk that line pretty, hopefully well, that's what we're trying to do, of like give you depth and whatever while also not being black and white. It can be like kind of just there. Like it's
Hmm.
not flashy, it's not showy, it's not out there. And so it can kind of feel boring. And that's where I feel like that's the place where you either get to go deeper and try to pull more out of it or you walk away. And
Mm,
our hope is that our readers and other people who are interested in art, literature, whatever, go deeper
hmm.
because there are things to pull back and pull out of it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's also easy to be like, I'm gonna go watch this show that's really flashy, really bright, or scroll
Hmm.
social media because there's you ride that those highs of emotion.
Mhm.
Whereas like good art, you might not actually feel that pull, like that really strong emotional pull. Um, I think
I
that's what you
think,
were just saying with Josh, what you and Josh were talking
yeah.
about too.
I think that's like really what you said there about like heightened emotion, just being like a huge, I mean, that's like a huge thing with like technology and social media right now. But I
Hmm.
feel like it's kind of, and this might be a good way to even explain the courting versus seducing, is I feel like the concept of depth, something being deep, is we've really heavily tied that to emotion. Like to feel
Hmm.
something deeply, there needs to be like big emotion to go with that. And typically like an emotion that will benefit you. like that'll make you feel good. And so if you like come into something and maybe it like makes you feel called out a little bit, maybe it, just picks at something you're like, oh, that maybe is something like I feel this speaking to me in a way that doesn't make me like feel amazing. I feel like it's really easy to run away from it.
We talk about death a lot on this podcast, and I think it's fun as we talk about it more. You can tell that it's something we're all trying to grasp. Like, what does it mean? What does it actually look like, feel like, everything? And so, yeah, listeners, I hope you understand, like, we're just trying to figure it out too.
Right.
And it's a
Because
hard,
we're trying to find the balance of like keeping you engaged with
yeah,
also not being like overly flashy and
yeah,
super black and white. And so it's like, but also staying really grounded and like
Hmm.
true to us. So it's like that line is a hard one to find.
yeah. That
Which I
has,
think y'all have done a great job of that. And like I had a professor that said something along the lines of good art doesn't necessarily present you with an answer, but rather it asks you a question so you can seek out the answer for yourself.
Hmm.
And
mhm,
I feel like a lot of the articles and just the content that has been in the post recently, and I'm sure like moving forward, this will be even more so, of like it creates conversation and not just like, here you go. It's like,
Right.
okay, what do you think about this?
Right. Yeah. And we had a reader, she emailed me. There were two different articles in an issue, and she was telling me about how they both opened up conversations with her family and how they had like their whole evening was dedicated to a conversation that an article prompted. And
Hmm.
I was like, that's what we're trying to do. That's so
mhm,
cool. And that was like very encouraging. And yeah, I mean that's what we hope our articles do. We hope the art will draw you in enough that you want to like, oh, I want to consume more art in my life and I want to like engage with these things more or literature, whatever that is.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. How would you like if someone is has not really put themselves in the art world at all, how would you encourage someone to not even encourage, how would you give practical steps as to like how to kind of get into it?
That's hard
What would
because
you do?
I struggle with it sometimes too, because I mean, everything is so accessible, online, but the reality of it is like that will never ever compare to standing in front of a piece of art, like physically.
Yeah.
So, and I know not everyone has access to like art museums or anything like that. But typically there are shows or small galleries around, and I myself need to be better about actually going to shows. But I feel like that's a great way. It's
Mhm.
just, popping in and actually looking at a piece, even if it's, not your taste or whatever. But yeah, not just looking at an old painting on your phone
Yeah.
is probably where I would start.
yeah.
I feel like I've seen you when you go to illustrate for the post, you reference books a lot for
Hmm.
inspiration. What
Yes.
I want to like hear about that.
I love going to McKay's to get cheap art books. That's like my favorite thing. I love art history books, all of it. So yeah, that's a huge way that I can make that physical connection a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um, whether that's illustrations in books, like the Narnia books, that was like peak when I was a kid. I feel like that is one of the biggest things that even got me into art in the first place. Um, so yeah, I love referencing art history. Like I'll look at paintings to kind of get an idea for a composition that I would like, even if it's a totally different thing. Like for the dragon illustration, I was looking at the movement of figures, human figures, to get kind of the composition of what I was wanting for a dragon. So yeah, I'm like constantly pulling little bits and pieces here and there. Um,
That's cool.
yeah,
So you've been drawing those since you were a kid.
yeah.
So what's been your path then from figuring out you wanted to pursue this as like a career from childhood to kind of to where you are now, or young adulthood?
Yeah. Well, I was drawing I've been drawing since I can remember, and it really did start out with like I read Narnia as a kid, watched a bunch of like fantasy movies, and I just wanted to kind of continue those stories for myself and just with those characters. And I would write little like mermaid stories, or
Oh.
I was obsessed with horses. I think that was like also one of the first things that I drew, horse girl. Um, and then I think I always wanted to pursue art in some way. I just didn't necessarily know how that would unfold. I feel like the typical path is to be an art teacher or something, but I didn't really want to do that. And so I started doing portrait art middle to high school and was like hyper realistic, really perfectionistic, wanted it to look exactly like a photograph. And I kind of took that mindset going into college. So I studied studio art in college, and I had a professor that he gave us an abstract project, and that kind of sent me into this new realm of art, I guess, of like, okay, things do not have to look picture perfect photograph to be considered good art. Um, and so I just asked a lot of questions, kind of tried to figure out what I wanted to do in that time. And then after college, I was doing some commission work, doing some design stuff, kind of like anything that I could do that was art related that would kind of make me some money, while also developing a style and painting on my own time. But I don't think I ever really wanted it to be like a full-time thing. I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And I knew that art was something that could pretty easily fit within that lifestyle, at least the way that I'm doing it. And now leading up to illustrating for the Latura post, it's like kind of a mix of all of the things that I love in one. So, like, my dream as a kid was to write children's books, illustrate them, and that's what I wanted to do. So it's like in a weird way, kind of a mix of all of these things.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh,
I'm really grateful for it and very excited for where it's going.
that's awesome.
Awesome.
And I don't know, like we've talked about France, but I don't know how you ended up there, why you were there. Did you
I
ever
don't
talk
either.
about Was it art related or was it
Yes,
okay,
it was an
okay.
artist residency. So I there was an artist that I followed on Instagram, and she was sharing about her time at this artist residency. And so I started looking into it, and there was like an open application. And it was a very short application. Like there was a short written piece, you share photos of your work, and I kind of just applied for it thinking nothing of it. Like for artists, they're always like prepared to get like a ton of rejection letters and like emails. And so I was like, I'm just going to start applying this stuff. And I kind of forgot that I applied to it. And I got an email months later of like, you've been accepted to this artist residency. And it kind of made me a little sick to my stomach because I had never traveled out of the country before, definitely not by myself. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing this. And so that following year, the following summer was when the artist residency was. And so I bought my plane ticket and flew out of Atlanta to fly into Paris, and it was nerve-wracking. But that whole trip was just it was a huge growth experience for me. Not only of just traveling solo and having to navigate that, but just as an artist in general, because I had kind of fallen out of painting for a while, and it was like being thrown back into it completely. The residency was at this chateau, and it was like 3 stories, and I had a room at the very, very top with like a little window overlooking the village, and I could see the little chapel like right outside of my window. It like perfectly framed it. And I had a studio that was it was a horse barn, like a horse stud thing that they had transformed into little studio rooms. And it was beautiful and amazing. And I think about it like every day. Um, but yeah, it was hard though, like being away from home, being by myself and having nothing to do but paint, like it kind of forced me to think about things and create in ways that I hadn't before. So yeah, I shed some tears over the painting that I was working on because it was like it was not what I wanted it to be. And I'm like, I just came to France solely to paint and it's not working out the way that I want it to. And I kind of had to learn to be okay with that and to view it as, just because it's a failure in my eyes, it's still growth. And that's with just my personality. I struggle with that. So yeah.
That's awesome. So was it you were just working on one painting the whole time you were there?
I worked on two, but I decided to work on this giant piece of canvas instead of just doing smaller scale things. I don't know why I decided to do that. I had to ship it back to the States too. And like, what was I thinking? But I don't know. I guess the Lord had a plan with that because I spent so much time on a single painting. And I think now it's taught me a lot about letting go of perfectionism. And like, going back, I would have done smaller works more quickly and just kind of getting that practice in rather than building it up in my brain to be like, I have to have this grand work to bring back with me from France. So,
How
yeah,
long was it? The
the
residency?
residency,
Yeah.
2 weeks. And going into it, I knew that I was a slow painter and my process is really slow. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this giant piece of work in really less than 2 weeks. So I don't know. I was overambitious and it bit me in the butt.
Been there, done that. I feel like that's such a good learning experience, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
one painting that I did bring back that I was actually proud of was one that I did in like a day. So that's pretty much what I have to show for that time there.
Now I want to see all these.
Yeah.
The large one probably will never see the light of day. I have it rolled up. I don't want to look at it.
I bet it's like
Oh.
amazing.
Well, it's unfinished, so that's one thing. I didn't finish it.
That's okay.
But yeah, big learning experience for me.
Yeah, that's so cool. How long ago was that?
It'll be 2 years this summer, which doesn't feel like that long ago. But yeah, I would love to go back there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Like I think, I don't know, I'm like reflecting on this as I talk to you guys because I've not thought a ton about it since then because it's just been a whirlwind of life since I came back from that. But like I think I just should have enjoyed being there more. Less so like focusing on this giant painting, but taking in what was around me and using that to fuel art just later on, which I feel like has happened since then. But I was just like tunnel visioned while I was there.
Yeah.
There's so much to pick out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Because I always, you know, I've only written smaller articles for the Post, and the actual idea of like 1,000 plus words scares me. Like the thought of sitting down, organizing my thoughts, and writing that long of a piece absolutely terrifies me. And I feel like it's that same thing, like I to just like work on something, because I also deal with perfectionism and wanting it
Mm-hmm.
to, yeah, like it sounds like you confronted that demon though. Like you sat down, you dug into it, and you didn't come away with a perfect, pretty bow, but you came away with a lesson.
Yeah.
I don't know, that just, yeah, the idea of like sitting down with your art or with any form of like, you know, just that type of work, it's scary.
It is.
It is.
And to confront it is hard. And anytime I sit down to write, I'm like, I actually suck. I have nothing good to say, nothing good to write. It's hard. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. This is
So
a
good job.
well-timed conversation because I've been working on an article this week that I need to finish probably today. And it has just not gone the direction I was thinking it would go.
Mm-hmm.
And like I went to write, I like had yesterday, I was like, I'm just gonna write. I'm not gonna do anything else. Yeah. And I did nothing because I looked at it and I was like, ah.
It's
Yep.
hard.
And like you were like I had this picture in my mind of like what I have wanted it to be, and it's just like going a different direction. And I'm trying to wrestle through, is that okay that it's going in a different direction? Is that actually where it like needs to go? Or do I need to like go back to the drawing board? Yeah.
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 You could just plug it into AI.
Oh my Lord.
Oh my
Chat
That was a
GPT.
joke. Yeah.
Oh.
You can cut that. I had to throw something in there.
No, but Christine,
Okay.
going off of that, like, I feel like I have to learn the same lessons over and over again in my life, and I'm not go with the flow really at all. And the instance of the artist residency and just like my painting practice as a whole, I feel like reminds me over and over and over again that sometimes you just can't. I mean, you're not in control. You're just never in control.
Mhm.
And having to pivot and be
Mhm.
like, okay, I wanted this to go in this direction and it's not. And so, like, how can I work with that and still make it something
Yep.
that I'm proud of and something
Right.
that I love?
Right.
Um, and I think also remembering that creativity, it doesn't like run out. Like, because you do one not so great article or painting or whatever it is, it doesn't mean that it's going to be like that for forever. Like,
Mhm.
we were created to create, and because of that, that is in abundance. Like, it's not a scarce
Mhm.
thing. Um, and so failure, what do they say? Failure is data or something that you can just take with you into the next project.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
I
That's
don't know.
really
It's
good.
better to do something and fail at it than do nothing and just stare at the
It's
wall.
true.
That is so true.
I think too,
Preaching to myself.
what I was also just kind of, as I was thinking yesterday, like, why do I not want to work on this? Like, why am I not wanting to? And I think I was kind of realizing that the piece wasn't going in the direction I wanted, but what the direction it was actually going in was a reflection of things I was currently working through.
Mm,
And I'm like, my brain and my heart were on different pages, but like ultimately, what flowed was like probably what needed to come out, what like
hmm
will actually benefit my own thinking, emotional well-being. And and so it feels when I realize that I'm like, wow, now this piece feels like really personal. And so do I like want people to read that? And
Yeah.
so now I think I'm battling like I think I'm starting to realize why I'm feeling about the piece and what do I want to do with that. And I just think that a lot of times creativity, um, your mind tells you what you want to do, and then you go into it, and like your heart ultimately is like the things that are deep within you that you're currently working through, whether it's
hmm
hard times or good times, like that's what flows out, and that's probably what needs to flow out. Uh, but as a creative, it's just it gets so personal then. And you're just
Yeah.
It
like, oh.
does. And I think that goes back to what we were talking about of when you can tell that something is good literature or good art. It's like you are being honest with what you're going through, even if you don't necessarily want to. Like, it just kind of flows out anyways.
Mhm.
And that's so much more special and impactful than you trying to like shove it down and write what you had previously wanted to write.
Yeah.
So, and it'll probably
Yeah.
resonate with someone more
Yeah.
than what you think it will.
Well, if I take away anything from this, it'll be like, I just need to finish the piece how I'm writing it. I just need to, I'm
Yeah.
talking, saying these things out loud now, and I'm like, ah,
hmm
Christine, just go with it.
Just get it done.
Just get it
Yeah.
done. And then in August, when it publishes, I can be like, oh, that's where my head was.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's
so,
I coach high school girls volleyball, and it's like coaching myself because I'm always like, I'm gonna force you guys to fail so that we can then figure out like how we can do it better the next time or actually get to where I want us to go. And then like I'll go home and be talking to my husband, and he's like, same, like you need to listen to yourself about that. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Failure is good. It's okay.
It's okay.
It sucks though.
Yeah.
Right. We're saying that, but inside we're all like,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I don't know where to go with that.
Where do we want
It's like, oh,
I
yeah.
feel like we're like, I don't
entertaining all
know.
of it.
Everything's connected, but it's
It
also
is.
all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
So that's
you
my
do
brain.
do you do any other kind of form of art, photography? Do you write? You said you wrote stories when you were little.
Well, that's funny. I just messaged Christine about this. I used to write all the time as a kid. And even in high school and college, my journal, I've journaled ever since I was like 8. Like I have journals all the way back to that time. Um, but I've not done creative writing in years, but it's always been really important to me, and I've always enjoyed reading. And so I would like to incorporate that back into my life somehow. So,
Well, do we have
yeah.
a thing for you?
Do we have a thing for you? I I love this because I was so happy when you messaged me and you're like, I don't really have any experience. And I'm like, that's okay. Because I feel like in reference to our episode talking about writing and working in relationship with writers, it's like we're all here to support each other. I mean,
Hmm.
like Bailey and I are constantly telling each other, like, you can do it. You can write. Um, and it's helpful to have people kind of like cheering you on and that you can trust to give you like really genuine and honest critiques in
Hmm.
like a healthy way. And I just think when you love something and are inspired by something, you're going to put forth your best work. And so
Yeah.
I don't know, like I feel like if you're feeling the bug, like maybe I want to do this, I want to see it. We
Yeah.
need to, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Especially
am feeling
just,
the bug.
yeah, and your art, even just seeing your art, I feel like there is something in you that has stuff to say as well. If that makes sense. Like ever
And
since
it's
I've seen
like
it, I've thought that.
I've written stuff. Like my sketchbooks in the past have been almost like a journal. It just doesn't see the light of day
Yeah.
because it's like me scribbling down these thoughts as I'm painting. Like, I don't know, the action of painting, it gets my brain working
Mm,
as well. And I'm just
Mm,
like, I have to write this down. And then I kind of just tuck it away. So, but
love it.
I would
yeah.
love to dive into that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I could see, like I know that would back to what we were just talking about things feeling really personal. I do think it would be cool to see like one of your illustrations with some thoughts along with it. Because
Mm,
I don't know, I just feel like it'd be really impactful.
that would be really cool. I would always, I've like posted like a photo of my handwriting on my sketchbook and done like a little excerpts from my sketchbook thing. But it does feel really personal because I don't know, it's almost like a shield when people can just look at the art
Mhm.
and putting my thoughts along with that. It's almost like, I mean, y'all understand, you're writers. It's like, does this translate to people? Is this totally off,
Mm.
Hmm.
off
Yeah,
topic from what
Yeah.
people are gathering from this illustration? I don't know. It's makes it a lot more
yeah,
vulnerable to me.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just
How do
all
you,
So
just
that's
like
probably a good
constantly,
thing.
our team is constantly just being like, you can do it to each other because we're
yeah.
all like,
Yeah, which is why we're all here, you know?
yes.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this as a team and not
Yeah.
solo.
I would
Yeah,
never write anything ever by myself and put it out under my own name. But you know what? Like I'm just not that type of person. But this
yep,
is really fun for me because, Christine, yeah, you're like, you can do it. Just write
Mhm.
it. And then I send it to you and you're like, looks great. I'm like,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, it helps you get out of your own head.
Yeah.
It does.
And then
Yeah.
to be like placed among other people's writings
Mhm.
is a comfort.
Yes, it
Hmm.
feels so supportive because you're not like, I'm not the
Yeah.
only one who's pouring out my heart here. Other people are too. And it does just feel different when you see it all together in print.
Yeah, which is another reason that I'm really grateful for the post because like coming out of college when you're surrounded by other art students and that's like what you all do
Mm.
and you have critique weekly and everyone's kind of doing the same thing and then going from that to being like okay, I'm not around any artists like
Mhm.
the whole like no one understands me that kind of crap. um I don't know, it's just it's like a little community in and of itself, a creative community, so
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
cool, it's fun.
Yeah. It,
How do you feel as an artist in social media?
I don't know. I go back and forth of like it's a tool and it can be used for really cool, creative, fun things. And also like I'm getting a light phone and I'm never looking at social media again. I don't know. The AI art that pops up makes me so mad. It's
Yeah.
just so bad too.
Yeah.
And that goes into like everything that I value, or of like fast fashion and just everything wanting being this like quick, like you're bypassing the humanity of something.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gets me a little bit fired up.
Mm-hmm.
A little
So
bit.
just a little bit.
Same. And
Yeah.
we actually I tentatively am writing an article about that very thing coming up. If you want to like collaborate on a piece about that very dehumanization aspect, I love that topic. I'm very passionate about that topic. But again, the thought of like sitting down and writing a very long article about it freaks me out.
You just have to do it. Like now you have to.
Look
You
at me, I'm
spoke it.
begging. Do you want to help me? Do you want to help
That sounds cool to me.
me?
Yeah.
It might just be fun to bounce
I feel like
ideas.
that is a topic that needs to be longer because it's so spicy.
Yeah.
Like in a
Yeah.
good
Mm,
way. Like it's
Yeah.
that needs to
It's
be dove into. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
But anyway.
do it. I'm supportive.
Oh, well,
Yeah. I opened up a journal yesterday and I was trying my hand at poetry. I was like, what am I doing? But I felt so inspired, which was just
yeah.
like, um, again, like I feel like what the paper's doing is I don't know, all these things that I think I've been capable of, but you tell yourself, I'm like, what do I have? What do I like? Would I even
Hmm.
be any good at this? Um, it's just interesting to like be like, I like feel like I need to do this right now. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Ah, I also sometimes, yeah, I have things that never see the light of day too, and will never see the light of day. Poems are one of them. And yeah, it is just fun when you are inspired and all stuff starts kind of just flowing out of you.
Hmm.
I think that's important too, to like have those things that are just for you
Mm-hmm.
creatively, because social media, I feel like has painted things in a way where it's like you feel like you have to share everything
Mm-hmm.
and it's not worth it if you're not posting about it.
Hmm.
But having those little bits that are just tucked away for yourself, I feel like feed into the bigger projects and
Yeah.
Yeah.
larger thoughts on things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. So, okay, what has been, I feel like people would be interested to know kind of like what our process is. Like how do like you and I communicate, Kaylin, and like how do we come up with what illustrations go into an issue? Or how do you come up with it more so?
Um, well, I feel like it's a lot of back and forth between you and I of just like, okay, here are the articles and kind of the topics we're talking about, and
Hmm.
then letting that be the inspiration moving
Mm-hmm.
forward. I don't know, I feel like most of our communication is you telling me something and then I forget about it and have to message you to clarify.
That's
Um,
fine.
because You're type A, I'm assuming, and I am not.
I'm actually really not.
Really?
I'm very not.
Well, then you're doing a really good job because,
This has been like being a boss, I guess you could say, has
yeah.
been a huge learning curve for me. And I feel like it's something, even though I'm not type A, there's something about it that like I'm good at keeping other people organized, I'm realizing. I don't
Hmm.
keep myself very organized.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
a lot of times issues come together and I'm like, wow, that came together. We did it. But I don't
Yeah.
know how. Um, because I'm pretty, I don't know. I feel like I'm a weird mix, depending on the day.
Yeah, I get that. Am I allowed to talk about the mermaids?
Yeah,
Because
please.
that's the one that's like in my brain right
Yeah,
now of
talk
like
about
just
it.
what the
Mhm.
process was.
Yeah.
Because the articles, I guess there was a theme on water and the braiding hair and kind of like the feminine
Hmm.
relationship with that. And I don't know. I just have always thought mermaids were really cool, and so that kind of just popped into my brain. It's almost summer. I'm like in the water all the time, and so it kind of was like this natural
Yeah.
flow of like, okay, anytime I can incorporate fantasy into something, I'm gonna do it.
Hmm. Love
So
it. Yeah,
that was
I
kind of
love
an
it. I
easy segue into that.
when you pitched that idea, I was like, do not need convincing. Like I am sold.
Mhm.
I think that's something that I just really want to. One of the layers I want to have in the paper is just like that whole idea of enchantment, of
Mm,
like not everything being so black and white. There being, like you're looking at a piece of art and it just expands your mind in different ways. And I just there was just something about the Your Mermaid idea with it being the July issue. It just felt right, very like high summer. The
yeah,
water, it just felt so right. So,
I felt
And
like
it's
it
beautiful.
tied in all of those things
mhm.
really well into one subject.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And it even like you said fantasy, like your article has those threads in it too, and
Hmm.
it's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't wait to read it.
Yeah. I'm really happy with how that one came out. That one was like very fun for me.
Yeah.
Um, got to like kind of get into some mythic poetry and some things, and it was just it made my heart full. It was a good one. That's like my first. I mean, I wrote a little something in the June issue. Um, that one will be like my first fuller comprehensive article. So feels like a baby. Like I
I can't wait.
So just to wrap things up, be on the lookout for more of Kaylyn's art going forward. She's gonna be it's just amazing. You've done a lot, especially the June summer issues going forward. Like I said, a lot of art, maybe some writing. Be on the lookout. But also, last episode we kind of announced that there's maybe something coming. There was another little Easter egg in here. See if you can find it. Drop it in the comments what you might think it is, and be on the lookout for a formal announcement in the
think
coming.
next week
Yeah,
from when this
so
drops. Yeah.
that'll
That's so
be
exciting.
yeah, it'll be so fun. Um, and just thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. It was super fun to chat, and people get to learn more about our team, which is great. So, yeah,
Yeah, I had a blast. It was good to actually talk to you guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
super fun. So, that's it. Till next time.
Until next time.